Welcome to the Women's Motorsport Network Let's Talk Racing podcast with hosts Melinda Russell and Brett Timmerman. Brought to you by Highline Raceway. Now here they are. Let's talk racing.
Hey, here we are. Let's talk racing. Melinda Russell here. There's Brett Timmerman there in the middle, the rose between two thorns. And there's our guest, Brylee Kilmer. So we are so excited to have Brylee on the show tonight. Brett and I both know Brylee. We've met her. I've followed Brylee for probably a couple years, Brylee. Would you say we've known each other a couple years, maybe?
I think you first saw me when I won in the junior sprint.
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right. So I've been following her for a while. Brett followed her. She was out at English Creek, and then I saw her at the Women's Forum in Knoxville, which was fun. And so we're so glad to have you on the show, Brylee. So I'm going to start, and Brett and I are going to take turns kind of asking you questions. So why don't you start, for the people that don't know you, tell us where you live, about your family, your pets, anything that you want to share, what grade you are in school, anything you want to share with us about yourself.
I'm in 6th grade. I live in Goldsby, Oklahoma. I'm 11 years old, turning 12 this Friday. And I have 2 dogs, a cat, and a fish.
Okay, and you live with your parents, right?
Yeah, and I have a 18-year-old sister.
Okay, I was going to ask you if you have any brothers or sisters. So you have a 19-year-old sister. Does she like to race, or does she like racing?
No, she likes softball.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a good sport.
Volleyball.
Oh, awesome. That's a good sport to be in, this softball too. So, yeah, awesome. Go ahead, Brett.
Well, Brylee, we're glad to have you on the show. Like we were talking before the show, you've got a lot of accomplishments in your young life, and I didn't realize until today just how many. I've just seen your success in the last year, but let's tell everybody how you got started in racing.
I got started when I first saw my dad racing.
How old were you?
I was probably 5.5.
And you decided that it was time for you to get in a race car?
Yep.
So how old were you when you first started?
5, almost 6.
So you were 5.5. What'd you start out?
Young gun, which is like a box stock.
How'd that go for you for your first night?
That was a long time ago.
Was it scary?
Yeah. I flipped in it. It got me a little scared.
Oh, the first night you flipped?
No, I flipped in it probably a few months after I started.
Okay. But you didn't get hurt?
No.
Okay, well, that's good. So did you get right back in it after you flipped and kept racing that same night?
Yep.
Yeah, you got to get back on the horse, don't you, Brett?
Yes, you do.
Awesome. So what's your mom think about when you wanted to start racing? Was she for it or against it?
I think she was probably for it.
Okay. Sometimes the moms aren't as excited about their daughters racing as the dads are. But does your dad still race?
Yes.
Okay, and what does he race?
He races 500s, turf tires, non-wing, micros. He races the sprint car with me.
Okay, awesome.
So let's explain to some people about the different cars that you guys have in the Kilmer Racing stable. You talked about box stocks and non-wings and 250s and 500s. I know both of you guys between you guys, you have a lot of cars you race. So
yeah,
let's let's start out with like the non-wing. What kind of car is the non-wing for these people out here that don't know what we're talking about?
It's a open car with a 450 motor with just no wings.
So it's basically like the little outlaw cage carts with no wings.
Yes.
And are they fast?
Yeah.
I'm guessing you probably go right around 50 or 60 mile an hour with them, don't you?
Yeah.
Then you got the 250 car, which is basically the same thing, but with a wing, but it has a smaller motor.
Yep.
And what's the difference in when you're in a 450 car compared to a 250 car?
More motor.
Can you does it drive any different, or is it just faster?
It's faster and you get to the corners a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have a 500 wing cart and a micro sprint, right?
Yeah.
So what's the difference in them?
The micro is almost the same power, just on bigger tracks.
Can you tell the
Shocks.
difference?
They have shocks too.
Yep, that's what I was just going to ask you. Can you tell the difference on a shock car versus an outlaw cart?
Yeah, when you hit the bumps in an outlaw cart, it kind of hurts, but when you hit them on, say, a big track, you can barely feel it.
And then, so we got some big news for some people out here that that we're talking about all these cars that you drive. And so right now you're racing a non-wing, a 250, 500, and a micro, right?
Yeah, in a 305.
So now you're going to a 305 sprint car, which
Yeah.
is pretty big news for an 11-year-old just getting ready to turn 12. So, somebody's alarm clock's going off. So now let's talk about this 305 sprint car. Have you drove it yet?
Yes, we have been hot lapping it, but they won't let me race it till I'm 14.
So that's
gosh.
So that's what they came up.
Oh.
I was talking to your mom the other day, and she was telling me that she wasn't sure. So is that what they finally said? Is you can't race till 14?
Only on the sanctioned races.
Okay. Well, we're hoping you get a race sooner than that. Like some tracks will let you sign a waiver that they're not liable. And
yes.
Right.
So we're looking forward to
just
seeing
like English Creek.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what you had to do there.
So I have a question. So when you say they're sanctioned, so like how many races do you race that are sanctioned and then are non-sanctioned? Are more of them sanctioned? So and what does that mean for people that don't know?
Have more laps. Half
I'll
and
be right
half.
back.
I mean, they have some of them are bigger races. The littler races, like the non-wing ones, with the non-wing sprints, they were gonna let me, but Dad didn't want me to if there was gonna be a B feature.
Okay. All right. So it's for safety reasons, obviously. They want you to be old enough to be able to, not get in a hard situation or get hurt and everything. But as much as you've raced, your parents are probably pretty good judges of whether they think you can handle the 305, right?
Yeah.
Right. So you're hot lapping it. So where do you go to do that?
Meeker, Oklahoma on Red Dirt Raceway.
Is it called Meeker, Oklahoma?
The track's called Red Dirt Raceway. The city is called Meeker.
Okay, isn't this interesting? My maiden name before I got married was Meeker. Just a little trivia there for you. So when you go to that track and you're in Meeker, Oklahoma, you'll think of me because that was my name before I got married. So you're hot lapping it. So how does that car feel compared to the other ones that you're driving?
A lot faster.
Yeah. So like, do you know how fast it goes or how fast you've gone in it?
There's a little gauge on the side of it. I got to 68.
Wow. That's
RPMs.
pretty fast.
6,800 RPMs.
6,800
Yeah.
RPMs. Yeah.
You know how big that track is you're on?
Big. 3/8 of a mile.
3/8. So
Okay.
you're 3/8. You're probably going to in a 305. You're probably hitting 80 mile an hour at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking that. Yeah. As how I know it's hard to explain to people, you know, when we're sitting in the stands and we're watching sprint cars or late models or whatever they are, and they're going around the track, sometimes they don't look like they're going that fast. But
Yeah.
when you're behind the driver's seat, how fast does it feel?
It's fast.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being 11 years old in a 305 sprint car, Melinda?
No. Or so compare it to going down the highway at 80 miles an hour in a little Ford Escort or something small, you know, or a little Mini Cooper, and at 11 years old. We
Yeah.
never would do that. But, you know, we're bringing up our young women to race from the time they're 5.5, and they just want to keep going faster and faster and faster. And the cars, they want to keep getting in the bigger cars and the bigger cars. And we're going to see Brylee World of Outlaws. Is that what you want to do, Riley? Do you want to be race with the World of Outlaws?
I want to race with the World of Outlaws and go NASCAR.
Okay. All right. That's what I figured. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah. So, all right, now let's do a little talking about your accomplishments, because there's so many. I can't read everything off. There's so many. But, so, in 2019, if I read the paper right, you had 4 track championships.
Yes.
And how many different classes was that? Do you remember?
2.
2. So, that, you know, and you had several wins then too. I'm assuming so, but and then, you know, in 2021 or 2000 and I don't know if you guys raced. I didn't see it 2020, or I seen 2019 and 2020, but 2021 looked like you had a pretty good year, and then now we're in 2022, and I'm gonna read off where you're at. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2022 up to date right now in the non-wing class. That's with adults, right? You have adults racing with you?
Yes, and some kids.
She has 7 feature wins, I believe, out of 11 races. And she is in first in points by what I seen was like 100 points ahead of the leader.
Wow.
Or the place. The 250 class. So this is what she races this year. Remember, the 250 class, she has 3 wins out of 11. And 11 or out of 14, 11 of them are top 5s. 11 of the not wins, and then she's first in points by 6 points in that class.
Yes.
Ooh.
So then we roll into the 500, which is racing with adults, and there is some other kids in there, but that's pretty fast class, and she's in 6th in points with 1 feature win, and then she has her micro sprint, and she has 4 feature wins with that.
Yep.
That is
Riley. How do you do all that? Let me ask you, first of all, do you race the different classes, more than one class on a night, or is it just you go to a racetrack and that's a certain race that night, or do you jump from one car into the other?
I jump from one car into another sometimes, and then 5 times, and then I race the same car in 2 or 3 classes on a night.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So she gets out of the car and jumps into a different car, or she gets back on the track and races a different class.
Yep.
Yeah. So Kaylee Elizabeth says, "You go, girl. Wow." And then, do you know Kennedy Lynn?
Yeah.
Okay. Kennedy Lynn says she's a beast, and then she puts up her little muscle deals. And Edna Baker Whitlock, do you know who that is?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, she's listening and she says, wow, outstanding. So Kaylee Elizabeth wants to know how many people are working on all of these cars. Like, who helps you? And I'm assuming your dad's racing also when you go these places. Who's on your crew? Who helps you guys?
James Bonstead, David Bonstead, Eric Redman, and my dad and Kirk, and
Okay.
Alan Chambers.
So you have quite a few people that are helping, because if you've got that many cars going, that's
Well,
pretty crazy.
hey, Brylee, let's talk. I don't know if Melinda. So, Melinda, these guys bring ROK chassis is a big, help to these guys, which is Berkeley, and they show up to like English Creek Nationals. I think they brought 14 carts, like in their group, and I think them guys worked on like 8 of them, and they're like them 4 guys she listed work on 8 different carts.
Wow. Now,
So,
Brett, I've seen you work on Adrian and Drake's carts. One guy works on 2. 8 guys are working on, or however many guys are working on all those carts.
4 guys are working on. I mean, there's probably a little more help than that, but 4 main guys that I've seen, and it is like I can't handle working on 2. I can't imagine working on 8.
Does it get crazy, Brylee, when you're at the races?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you help with carts, Brylee?
Yes. I do the
So what
air
do you do?
pressure. I do the air pressure and change tires.
Oh, good.
And wipe
And then
down the
do you
cars.
have to scrape tires? Yeah, because they get really dirty quick, don't they? Yeah. You don't scrape tires? Okay. All right. So do you know who Keith Duffy is?
Yes.
Keith Duffy says he's looking forward to doing the wrap on your car. Probably the 305 is what he's talking about. Right?
He's talking about the non-wing.
Oh, the non-wing. Okay. Awesome.
So this Keith Duffy wrapped Adriana's cart.
Okay.
He's let's give him a shout out. It's DC Customs. He does an awesome job. He wants to see him look very a lot of race cars can get cluttered. Like we have like 30 sponsors, and he likes to fit them in where they look good. Some rap guys just throw them on wherever, but he does an awesome job. So he's from my area, so I know he knows them guys, and that's awesome. He can be wrapping their cart.
Well, and honestly, those cars are not as big as some cars, so you've got to really be strategic about where you put all those stickers so that they are readable and they look good. And yet, like you said, you got all those people. So Brylee, I bet you have a lot of sponsors. Do you have a list of them? Would you like to tell us who they are, or?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
ROK Chassis, Berkeley Racing Unlimited, the Goolsby Store, Velocity USA, Select Coatings, H&H Plumbing, Rescue Heat and Air, and DC Customs.
Wow. Yeah, she's got some good sponsors there, I can tell from the names of the companies. Yeah. And have they sponsored you for a while? Or have you had anybody? Yeah, because once they started and they saw how good you were
DC Customs we got last week.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. So you're always looking for more. I know that. That's true, because racing's expensive and you've got all those cars to fill up with gas and buy tires and all that. So I know you're always looking. How could somebody get a hold of your dad, your mom? Who should they call, and how would they get a hold of them if they want to, help you with your racing career?
You can call my dad.
Okay.
Berkeley Racing Unlimited.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to help a young gal reach her dreams and get to the world of outlaws, this gal right here would be a great one for you to support for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to post your resume on a web page or on your Facebook page, so people that are, tag it at the top of your page, or pin it so that people can see it whenever they go to look through your page, because you've got quite an outstanding resume. For 11 years old, that there's a lot of adults that have raced 40 years that haven't accomplished what you've accomplished.
Exactly. So, Brylee, do you ever have a bad day at the racetrack?
Yes.
So, what do you do when you have what is a bad day, and then what do you do to make it better?
Well, we were at Shawnee when my dad had COVID, and the battery blew up.
Oh, that's not good. So, what do you do if your battery blows up?
I get in the next car and go win it.
I love that. That's a great answer. That's awesome. So, Brylee, do you know Yvonne Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, she said, "I'm proud of you." So, with a little checkered flag and a trophy. So, she obviously knows you have an outstanding race resume for sure. Yeah. So, what's your favorite part of being a race car driver?
That I'm a girl and people should not know me as a girl in racing. Should know me as a race car driver.
Exactly. That's a great answer. And at 11 years old, that's a pretty smart thinking there.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So Dylan Berglund says, "I'm sorry about the battery." Did he cause the battery to blow up?
Yep.
He did. Oh, Bradley or Dylan, you shouldn't have had the battery blow up. Bad guy. So knock him off your team. Bradley Smith is giving you thumbs up. And then Melissa Miller says, "You're absolutely awesome. Go, Bry." And Cody Harvey says, "The Harvey family is proud of this girl. She's got a lot of people listening to her tonight, Brett."
Yeah, I knew she'd have a pretty good following, and when I hyped it up on that post that I shared, and it got, I think it's got the most likes and shares out of a post for a podcast out of all of them so far.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I knew it was good.
Yeah, so far she's leading the way for sure. And the people that are on live, that's okay, Brylee, this is our 17th podcast of this kind. So we haven't been doing this real long, just started this summer. And a lot of people listened later, like I said, but to have 22 people listening live, that's probably the most we've had live, because people are eating dinner and they're doing all kinds of stuff at night and that. But let's see. So Robin McDonald Reinhardt says, "Brylee is a great racer. Love watching her race karts and micros." Kim Fox says, "The Fox family loves Bry. She's a beast." And Krista Duffy says, "This girl is awesome." So are you getting, is your head getting big, or you just take this all in stride and you're like, "I'm just going to go out there and win every race I can"?
Probably sometimes my head gets big, and then the other times I should go out there and win.
Okay. Well, Sherry Berkeley says, "That's my girl." You've got to be proud of yourself. I mean, Brett, look at what she's done. How could you not be proud of yourself? Or if she was your daughter, be so proud of not only her wins and her championships, but also her attitude and her smile. The things that she's got it together. It's not just being on the track. There's people that are good racers, but they're not always as good of people in combination. And Brylee's a sweetheart. We love her, don't we?
Yeah, I've never seen her quit smiling. Like, I see her at the track, she's smiling nonstop here. That just tells you the kind of person she is, because she's in it to win it, and she knows what it takes to get to the top, and she has a good support system behind her, and
yeah,
it's just I'm super happy to have met this family, and I haven't got to meet her mom yet because she never comes to the track when I'm there, but I met everybody else. But she said she has ROK chassis and Berkeley Racing Unlimited, which is Kirk Berkeley, and he is a class act himself. So she has good people. He owns a racing chassis company, and it don't matter who it is, he's going to help you. We got help from another guy and got a chassis. We built it at the track, and Kirk was right over there making sure that it wasn't even his chassis, but he was making sure that we were getting it together and what we needed. He had all the parts we needed, and if we needed it, he came over 3 or 4 times throughout the day to check on us, and so she has good guys in her corner, and they're going to take her where she needs to be. I promise you that. There ain't no doubt in my mind that we're not going to be racing against Brylee in the World of Outlaws here in the future. So
yeah, for sure. So Brylee, what's been your biggest obstacle about becoming a race car driver and being a successful race car driver? Because you are.
My biggest obstacle is probably school.
Okay. And why is that? Explain that to me.
On Fridays we have school, and most of the time we race on Fridays and Saturdays.
And you have to leave early from school or not go to school on
Yes.
Friday and travel. How far do you typically travel to go to a racetrack?
Probably 45 minutes.
Okay. So not terribly far.
To California, to Illinois, to
Yeah. So it's not just that
Knoxville.
track. Yeah, you've gone. I mean, you were near Knoxville is when you were there this summer. In Illinois at Viola's in Illinois, right?
And I've been to California, Dodge City, and then Texas, and I forgot the last one.
Okay. So when you go on these trips, tell me what you're driving, probably some kind of a pickup truck, and you're pulling your trailer. Do you have a camper? Do you stay in hotels? What do you do?
We got a big toter.
Okay. All right. That's awesome. That's awesome. You got to have that.
they pull into the track looking like World of Outlaws.
So what they do, Brett, is they pull into the track and they scare everybody because of the equipment they're bringing. And so she's already a leg up on everybody, right?
Yeah.
And it's like when they pull into the track and everybody's, the people that don't know what they got, when you watch them unload, it's like, here comes one car, here comes the next car, here comes the next car, it's like, holy cow, how many cars they got in that thing?
Yeah, that's really fun. So Sherry Berkeley says, that's my girl. And then Craig Shivey says, I don't know who that is, but you probably do. What's his name? Craig what?
Craig Shive.
Craig Shive, I had it right the first time, says, Brylee is good with all the other young drivers, and they all look up to her. She's the best. Man, your mom's going to have to take you out to dinner tonight to celebrate. I'm telling you. That's awesome. That's
Craig
awesome.
Shive was actually on a Segway and almost busted it.
Oh. He better be careful. He's going to get hurt for sure. Yeah. So I know you're a really good driver, but is there something you would like to improve on about your driving?
The talking.
The talking, like interview, you mean, or talking about your interviews? Okay, well, that'll come with age, and the more that you do it, the better you're going to get. Oh, this is helping you about that. So Craig said, oh, yes, I forgot about this. So Brylee, I was a cheerleading coach for 10 years. I know you like cheerleading. Tell me about it. Come on.
Well, we have to wear the uniforms to school, and then we get on a bus for like 30 to 45 minutes to the game. And then we do all the cheers and make our team win.
Yeah. So is this football right now? And what is it that you're cheering for? So is it tackle football?
Basketball. Yes.
Okay. And it's tackle football, and they're what, 12-year-old kids?
Junior high.
Oh, junior high. Okay. So you're one of the younger ones then if you're cheering for junior high. Would that be right? Yeah. Okay. I saw you in your cheerleading uniform. So, yeah, I'm glad he reminded me to ask you about that. Lindsay Brewer says, I'm so proud of you, Brylee. And Leslie Reinhart says, Brylee is a great racer like her dad. We love watching her grow. Keep it up, Brylee. So, nice comments.
Let's talk about her dad, So when Brylee races that in the 500 class, she races against her dad. And I've watched her dad not be able to get around her. How does that feel, Brylee, when you beat your dad?
It feels good.
Does your dad
How's
think
your dad feel?
Oh, I beat Kirk too.
she beat her car owner?
That that might not be a smart thing to be doing, to beat your car owner. But yeah. How's your dad feel when you beat him?
Good.
Good. He probably feels good because it's you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who does your mom cheer for if you and he are both on the track?
Me.
Yeah. Okay. Good. She's got her priorities straight. She cheers for the kid, not the husband. So that's all good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, for sure. So we talked a little bit about your goals about going to World of Outlaws. What do you think it's going to take for you to do to
A
be the
lot of
first?
money.
A lot of money, some good sponsors. But what else can you do? Let's just pretend that you got a whole car full of money. You got plenty of money. What is it going to take for you to be the first woman racing in World of Outlaws?
Drive it hard.
Drive hard. Yeah. Get a lot of seat time.
Respect.
Respect. That's good too. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. And just do everything you can to get better, both on and off the track, right? So, social media, your interviews, promoting yourself, that's all part of the package of getting, noticed. And that's what we want you to do. We want you to get noticed. That's why we're having you on the show, for sure.
So, Brylee, I talked to a lot of people about social media. I have a daughter that races, and Kelly Earnhardt, which Kelly Earnhardt Miller, but that would be Dale Earnhardt's senior's daughter. She told me, I said, what's it going to take for Adriana to get noticed in this world? And she said, YouTube. Make sure you do YouTube videos, and make sure it's always you. It's always Adriana on her Facebook, not the mom, not the dad. It's always got to be you, because people want to know who you are, not who your mom and dad are, because they want to invest in you. So just some
Right.
helpful tips from me is start a YouTube channel. You guys do a lot at the racetrack. You're always there. You can always have insight of what's going on before the races, during the races, while you're cleaning your tires or taking your tires off, just stuff like that. And don't be afraid to post more than once a day on your social media, because people want to know what you're doing.
Right.
I mean, so don't be afraid to do that. And if you can get into a class called Toastmasters, they might have them around your area. Look it up. That will help you with your public speaking.
Yeah, Toastmasters has been around for years and years and years, and I would bet, I don't know the rules of it, but I would bet that she'd be able to join one. And they usually meet like once a month or once whatever, and it'll really help anybody that's listening. You can be an adult and that. And the other thing is, don't just post about your racing.
Yep.
Like post when you're at the football game, and pictures with your friends, and that shows that you're a very well-rounded person. Or talk about your schooling, like, oh, I've got a big English test tomorrow, and that's my favorite subject. And or pictures with your animals, and that. I mean, I think a Haley Deegan, she is pretty good at posting all kinds of things that she does. And the girls that you think of that are really making names for themselves, they're on social media all the time. Now, we
Yeah.
know that can be a bad thing at times, but you're a smart young girl. You got good people around you. TikTok, I mean, that's another good one for racers. Little short clips of racing, of sitting around in the lawn chair after a race, and just talk about your race, and how you felt during the race, and if you won. And there's just so many things. If you don't promote yourself, nobody else is going to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another good person to follow is a new up and comer. I don't know if you've listened to some of the shows, but Taylor Cool. she has grown her audience by like 10,000 just by posting videos of her doing work in the shop and going to the pond swimming and just stuff like that. So Taylor Cool Racing is another thing I would suggest for you to check out. She would show you what it takes to get to the top.
Yeah, she's another one that we love and we follow and we support and we promote. So, all right, I'm going to ask you some fun little questions. Okay, real quick answers. First thing that comes to your mind: what's your favorite food?
Spaghetti.
What's your where's your favorite place to go on vacation?
Probably. I've never been on vacation.
You're racing every weekend. Okay, the racetrack then. What's your favorite candy?
Skittles.
What's your favorite color?
Blue.
What's your favorite number?
6.
Is that your race car number?
Yeah.
I figured. Do you have a favorite racetrack that you like to go to?
Probably Shawnee.
Okay. All right. Do you have a favorite sports team besides racing?
No.
You're not a Sooners fan?
No, I don't.
Oklahoma Sooners football? Nah, you don't care about any of that? Okay. Do you have a favorite race car driver other than a family member?
Probably Wayne Johnson.
Okay, and who's he?
The 2C that drives World of Outlaws by us.
Okay. All right. And what's your favorite holiday?
Probably Christmas, because it gets to where it's in the indoor season and we get to hang out with most of our friends.
Okay, awesome. So talking about indoor, you told Brett and I before we got on the show that you also race indoor in the winter. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about that?
We race at Shawnee, Oklahoma. It's Outlaw Motorsports, which is the same thing that Kirk and them run, but different people run it.
Okay. All right. And do you do that like every weekend, or it's just every so often, or do you race there a lot?
Twice a month.
Twice a month. Okay. That's kind of a lot when school's going on and there's all those holidays and that. Yeah. So what's the race season in Oklahoma like for outside? When does the weather turn so that you start racing outside? From when to when?
In April to October.
Okay, same as Michigan pretty much. Same as Iowa probably pretty much, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Go ahead, Brett.
Yeah, so for those of you who are either just joining or didn't get to hear the beginning, she races 4 different classes, or I guess, yeah, right now 4 different classes all summer, most of the summer, and then she races all winter. And her favorite holiday is Christmas because she gets to be at the racetrack indoors with her friends and she is all 100% about racing. Like there is nothing else that matters. And it's just, I'm super proud of you, Brylee.
Yeah. So K-Dub is one of our listeners every week. I had her on a podcast a while back, and she says, which do you like better, racing indoor or outdoor, and why?
Probably racing outdoor because there's more events.
Okay. Yeah. And it's a longer season, April to October. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So, Brylee, do you think that you are a role model for other, especially girls?
Yes.
And why, did you try to be a role model, or it's just something that's just happened?
It's just something that has happened.
Okay. And so explain to me how you're a role model to them. What is it that you do?
Well, I win the races and kick the boys' butts.
There you go. Red always says making boys cry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think probably little girls, younger girls, I mean, you're little, you're only almost 12. but girls that are 5, 6, 7, 8 years old are probably watching you, and they're not just watching you win. Are they watching how you act on and off the track, how you talk, how you behave?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because not only are they watching, but probably their parents. And when they see Brylee, they know that that's somebody they want their kids to watch, boys or girls, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You ever get
I
bad,
thought.
Riley?
What?
You ever get a bad attitude after a race?
Yeah, when I break when I'm winning.
It's hard to always be perfect, and nobody's perfect. Yeah. We all have our days that are not very good, and that's how we learn to be better.
Yeah,
So KW says, do you know if they offer a driver's school, like a ride and try and ride in your area?
Yes.
Okay. And is that at like one of the tracks that you race at where they have those?
Berkeley Unlimited.
Okay. So, when is that something that you ever go to and like talk to the kids that are trying it out and to encourage them? Or I'm just curious how that works, because we have one of those in Kalamazoo. We have a quarter midget track where they do try and rides. And so some of the older kids sometimes show up to help and just encourage the new ones. So is that something that you're able to do?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's another way she's a role model.
yeah. That Berkeley Unlimited is the ROK chassis. He owns where we went and raced at 81 Raceway in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
He owns that track too.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Because that's how we're going to get younger kids, boys and girls, into any of the racing kind of sport, is to let them get in those carts and make a couple laps around the track, and then they get the bug and they get race fuel in their blood, and parents, it's all over but writing the checks after that. For sure. KW says, about how many laps are an average race, and are they laps or is it a timed race?
20 laps or 12 minutes.
Okay. All right. And is there a spin out rule? Like if you spin out,
Yes,
you're
2
out?
spin outs and you're done. Or if you're in a caution.
Okay. All right. That seems kind of like unfair to me when they're younger and they're learning, but I guess that makes the racing goes faster.
Yeah, that's why they do it. The 2 spin rule is just if you let everybody keep spinning out, you're gonna race
Forever. Yeah.
Or and then we've gotten bit by the being involved. If there's a wreck in front of you and you spin out to miss that wreck, you're involved, even if you didn't touch them. If you stopped on the track, if you do that twice, you're out of the race. It's not just being which I don't like that rule, but it's a rule that's all over in the go-kart world.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it's bitten us a couple times, but you just got to learn to. That teaches a driver to look ahead more than so they know to how to avoid the wrecks.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's a really important thing to learn, because I've seen adult men who are not paying attention when a caution comes out and just ram right into the back of a perfectly good car, and it happened to be my son's perfectly good car that they rammed into. So I get that's important.
Hey,
Brylee, do you, when you win a race, do you get anything for winning? Do you get a trophy? Do you get money? Do you get anything at all?
Yeah, we get money, and then we also get these little cardboard deals.
Okay.
Like
Cardboard
plaques.
deal. Oh, plaques. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So, Brett, you better move to Oklahoma where they pay you when you race.
Yeah, no kidding. We get paid in Illinois, but the biggest track in Iowa doesn't pay, which doesn't make sense. But
yeah.
No, Brylee, how many times have you been upside down in your car? I know I've seen you a couple times.
Probably about 5 times in all my cars.
Okay.
3 in the 2 or 3 in the go-karts, and then the micros are the rest.
Are those easier to flip over than the other cars? Is that why, or it just so happened that that's how it did?
They're faster, so they're kind of easier if you get hit harder because you're
Okay.
going at a faster speed.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, hopefully you don't end up on your top because that's not good. We don't want that to happen.
I flipped at 81 Raceway. A car blew his motor right in front of me and locked it up. And we were green flag, and I just started flipping.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Was that at the Freedom Nationals?
Yes, hot laps.
Yeah, I thought it was in hot lap. I was going to say that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Brylee, is there anything that we have not asked you about, or here, I've got to ask you this question. K-Dub says, what kind of safety gear do you wear? Neck restraints, 5-point harness. So why don't you talk about that just for a minute? Like your race suit has to be fire retardant. Tell people if everybody doesn't understand.
We wear Hans devices, neck rolls, helmets, gloves, velocity suits, race shoes, no hey dudes, helmets.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Zamp helmets.
All right. So pretty much covered from head to toe, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm back to this. Is there anything that we have not asked you about that you or your mom or dad, somebody, make sure that we talk about on this show today?
Berkeley Racing Unlimited is owned by Sherry Berkeley.
Oh, okay. Well, we want to get that right. That's a woman-owned business.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Good. Sherry, I'm proud of you for owning that. Awesome. Good. Anything else?
No, I think that's all.
You're racing the Tulsa Shootout, right?
Yes.
Which is in end of December?
End of December, the 1st of January.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's after Christmas.
So we'll be watching for you there. We're trying to get there, but I don't know if we're going to make it or not. And can anybody? I see you got a Brylee Kilmer racing shirt on. Where can somebody get one of them shirts?
Yeah, I'd like to have one of those.
We have an online deal on my page. It's Brylee Kilmer Racing.
Is that a website or is that on your Facebook page?
It's on our Facebook page.
Okay. All right. Adrienne Hartman says, what other class would you be interested in racing?
I ran a flat cart.
You did? Did you like that?
It was all right. You don't wear any seatbelts.
I know. I learned that. Was that last week, Brett? Last week I learned you didn't wear a seatbelt, and I about had a fit. I'm like, no, my kid ain't racing in that because they're not wearing a seatbelt. I would not like that.
Adrienne Hartman is from my area, and she races a Legend dirt car.
Okay.
Look like the little coupes, but she's had some pretty good success too. So that's probably why she was asking.
Okay. All right. She's looking to see if you're going to be her competition. Awesome. Well, Brylee, I have so enjoyed us getting to know you the last couple of years, but tonight has just been a real pleasure to be able to sit and really talk to you. And there's something we always say, and I'm going to let Brett take it from here.
Well, Brylee, when you're on the show with us and when we get to know you, it always feels like a family to us. And, so everybody that we've met in your crew that, brings us in like a family, I just want to say to all of you guys that are listening, I know you got a crowd in front of you, but we want to welcome all of you guys to the family, especially you, Brylee. So you're now, whether you want to be or not, you're officially a part of me and Melinda's family and the Women's Motorsport Network family.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
So follow Brylee on Facebook. I'm sure that's where you can find out how she's doing, where she's going. Brylee Kilmer Racing, right? That's your Facebook page. And then do you have any other social media, Twitter, TikTok, anything else we should be following?
I have a TikTok. It's Kilmer_Racing_6.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to start watching that for sure. That'll be fun.
Careful.
Awesome. Careful. Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate your parents being with you tonight and setting you up so you could be on our show. We really enjoyed it, Brylee, and we want you to have much success the rest of this year. Are you going to be a track champion, or are you a track champion yet?
I'm a track champion in the non-wing because 100 points and you can only get 37 a night if you sweep.
Okay. All right. So
And 250.
And the 250. So you've got 2 track
And
championships. And
I'm
you're leading
leading
in
the 250.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're leading in the 250 and you've already got 1. So possibly 2 for the year. And then you're doing pretty good in the other ones. You never know what's going to happen. So we'll keep our eye on you for sure. But we want you to have really good luck this year.
She's 6 points in front of second place in the 250, so she's going to have to work for it to keep that championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we know she will. We're going to count on you to do that. And then we're going to do a special edition magazine all about track champions. And so we'll make sure that we get a hold of you and have you in that issue for sure.
Hopefully you have to have Brylee.
Hopefully what?
Hopefully you're going to have 3 pages of track championship spreads for Brylee.
Probably will. She'll probably just be the whole magazine about Brylee. It's hard to say. No, that'll be fun. So, Brylee, thanks again for being on. And you have a good rest of the year, and we're going to be watching you.
Okay, you too.
All right.
See you guys later.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Oh my gosh, I just love that kid. Every week we say that, and we mean it. It's like every week we meet the best people. We've had the best people on this show. You know what? I sat down this week. I'm getting my office organized. As you can see from the background, I'm really getting things back together. September 1st was my date. Remember, Brett? That's tomorrow. That I was going to be like, September 1st is the day I'm going to really be back and running at full speed. And I've already been doing it the last few days, but I have a list. We're going to have more than one show a week because I have so many people that I want to get on the show. And they're just, it's not because they're winning championships or any of that. Some of them are, some of them aren't, but there's just so many young gals, especially young ones, that are just, they're just amazing kids. And when you talk to them, they don't feel like you're talking to kids.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah,
we got a pretty good lineup. I recruited a couple the other night in Davenport. Jake Easian and Taylor Reimer. They both want to be on. And
yeah,
I've been sending everybody your way. And
yeah, I've been talking to them and getting them out there. And I've got Jade and Taylor. I think we're gonna maybe do a special show. Like, we may do that once or twice a month. We may have a special show on a different night where we have a couple drivers, maybe that are in the same class or compete against each other or friends or whatever. But speaking of Taylor, she's only the second driver to score multiple quick time awards at Davenport, Iowa. And she's the first woman to do so. So definitely deserves to be on the show for sure.
I think Jade she holds the most quick times in one of them series.
It could be. This was on Jade's page and she was talking about Taylor. It says Taylor joins at M Pickens Racing as the only drivers with multiple at Wits Racing Quick Time Awards. So I don't know. You would know better than I. So Ashley Freiberg is part of Shift Up Now, which you and I are both members of. And she returned to the race car for the first time in the 2022 season. And in the second race of the weekend, in the rain, she drove the NTE Sport Lamborghini. Wouldn't that be fun to drive? Woo. Into the top 10 and actually finished P3. So for not driving most of the year and a Lamborghini in the rain, that's pretty impressive, I think. So, and then we had a father-daughter that sent me, they were in Placerville Speedway, which is in California. A reason I know that is because my grandson, one of my grandsons lives there. So 3-time Placerville Speedway driving champ David Robinson Jr. embraces Jody, which is his daughter, after her first win on the red clay, which that's pretty cool that dad and now daughter. We see that a lot, dads and daughters. The daughters are taking up where the dads left off. So the Delaney Jones is out of Mexico, Missouri. She had her second win this season, and it was the Advanced Heating and Cooling Wing Cart feature. So that was pretty fun for her. She had her second win. I'm telling you, people are wanting to be announced on our show. So I love it. This is great. So Madison Bragg was the 2021 Miss Snowball Derby pageant winner. Okay, so we have in our head, you know, what a pageant winner looks like. But this year she went to Victory Lane as an outlaw late model driver for the first time, and that was in Cordell, Georgia. So she went from being the princess or the queen, now she's queen on the track because she had her first win. Kaylee Richards says, I couldn't have done this without the help of my family and sponsors. I'm your 2022 track champion at Beatrice Speedway. So she's going to be in the magazine. Big congrats to Kathy Taylor for her Saturday and Sunday sweep in the Ladies Briggs 206. And this was posted by SKZ Motorsports. So some of these ladies I don't know, but we're going to get to know them because their names are getting put out there. Daphne Herbert is pictured with her father. I know you can't see the pictures at Cornwall Motor Speedway. She got her first feature win in the Novice Sportsman Division Sunday night, August 28th. That's pretty cool. And let's see if I have any more. I think that's it for tonight. But I did want to talk about our guest next week. She's got a great story. It's Carson Gillikin. And Carson she drives a Legends car. And they were going home after a race. Their trailer was involved in a drunk driving accident. They weren't the drunk driver. Somebody else was the drunk driver. And she lost her cart. And then somebody gave her a cart. And, you know the racing community. When somebody has trouble, they're all right there. And so she's going to be on our show next week. And I think she's got a really good story, not just about adversity and how to overcome it, but also how the racing community came to her aid and really helped her. So I'm excited to have her on. Let's see. I'm trying to think of that. There's another young gal. Yeah, Tatum Kriegel is going to be on, coming down in the next couple weeks. She ran a quarter midget in San Bernardino, and it was the last ever race. That track's being torn down, and she set some records there. So we're going to have her on, and then we're going to have Allison McKinney Marshall. She's going to come on and talk about marketing and some things. So we've got a good variety of people coming up. So tell me about what you did over the weekend.
Well, we don't, as far as racing goes, our racing's kind of slowed down. We could be racing, but we got the carts. We got our whole karting operation for sale right now. We found a pretty good deal. A friend of mine has sell out on some older sprint cars. They're like 2013 and 14.
Yeah.
He has 3 cars and a motor, 3 rollers and a motor ready to go and a bunch of parts. And it's too good of a deal to pass up, but I can't just fork out the money for it.
Yeah.
It's $20,000 to buy that stuff. And so we're just trying to sell our whole karting operation to get it. hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get stuff sold so we can get that, and
Okay.
we'll be in the 305 next year, hopefully. But well, like I said, we got to sell our operation first, and it's
Yeah.
right now is not the people aren't looking super hard right now. So
No, in the spring.
yeah,
They'll be looking more. Yeah. But now's when you can get the good deals. So we got to get that out there that you've got that for sale so that Adriana can move up. And
yep,
that's, and then some other kid's going to have the benefit of what you have for them to get started and get going in their series. So that's good. That's good. I'll have to brag on my granddaughter a little bit. So she raced Maddie Snyder here in Kalamazoo. She raced Galesburg Speedway Saturday and Sunday. Sunday night, there was a big race. So Saturday night, she did really, really good. She started, I want to say, 8th and came up to 3rd, which, I mean, if they would have raced a little longer, she was really moving up to the front. So that was really, really good. And then Sunday night, they had a big race, 1,500 to win. Her boyfriend also races in that class. And so there was a couple times he was behind her. And so then I said, no, she was behind him, I think it was. And I said, oh, why didn't you pass him? And so we were teasing her about it. But anyway, Brock Gannis is her boyfriend, and he actually won the race 1,500, and she ended up 5th. So they both had a good night that night. And then Jeff Gannis, which is Brock's dad, won the $5,095 late model race. So the Gannis men took the money home from Galesburg. Maddie did really good. So we had a good weekend at the racetrack.
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's fun. It's fun to watch your family race and people that you know. So last thing I have, Brett, and then I'll let you close it out. Dirt Empire magazine is a really good, really, really good magazine. If you like to read and you like to stay up with, here's issue 8. Let me see where my camera is. And it had Tyler Carpenter on the front, and I love this magazine. I find names of girls in it. I keep track of what's happening in the dirt world because I don't have a lot of it around me. So I have to depend on these magazines and Facebook and that to keep up. So I reached out to Dirt Empire magazine. Adam there is the owner, editor. And so we now are going to be promoting Dirt Empire magazine on our podcast, in our magazine. They had a full page ad in the back cover. I encourage you to subscribe to their magazine. It's really good. And also, they just got picked up by Barnes and Noble. So I'm so happy for him that, you can go. I went to Barnes and Noble. They didn't have it yet, but they're going to have it. And, but if you don't want to take chances on them not having it, then you should subscribe. And so you can go to my magazine, or you can go to dirtempiremagazine.com, and you can find how to subscribe. And I know you get that magazine too, Brett. So I wanted to mention them tonight, and then we'll be mentioning them quite a bit, in the future.
Yeah, I've read the first magazine I've got. I read the whole thing, and it has a lot of good stuff in it. So I definitely suggest, if you like dirt track racing, to subscribe to that.
Right, absolutely. So that's everything I have. We had another great show. We've been here just a hair over an hour. And you got anything else to close out the show?
No, not really. I mean, if anybody out here is listening and wants to get their kids into racing, we got that cart right there for sale, and that one for sale, and tons of spare parts and tires. So
yeah,
if anybody wants to help out, it's actually going to help both my kids if we get that package buyout, because I'm going to end up letting Drake, one of these carts is his, and he'll get one of the sprint cars and have to buy his own motor for it. But it'll help both the kids out, and it'll help us move up in the world where we want to go. So
right, absolutely. So get a hold of Brett Timmerman. He's on Facebook, and you can find him there. And or you can email him at sales@iwmanation.com.
Yep.
And you can get a hold of him there. And so let's get those sold and get that sprint car on the move. And then it's a 305, Brett.
Yeah. Right now, we just want to start out.
Right.
We just want to start out in the 305, and it's it's local. We've traveled a lot. It'd be nice just to be 20 minutes from home every week.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, let's get that. Let's get that taken care of. As always, if you've got somebody that should be on the show, let us know and we'll try to reach out to them and get them scheduled. I've got almost the whole month of October. September is scheduled. October is half scheduled. And so we're working, and we'll put some special shows on if we've got enough interest. So we'll go from there.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. All right, everybody. Good night. Thanks for listening and have a good week.
See you guys later.